It's 7:03 on Thursday, November 13th. We are at 44 degrees, mostly sunny and breezy today. Highs upper 50s to low 60s. Good morning, I'm John Aaron.
I'm Michelle Basch. Our top local story, the longest federal shutdown in U.S. history is over after the House approved legislation to reopen the government. WTOP's Mitchell Miller has the story today on the Hill.
The yeas are 222, the nays are 209. The bill is passed.
6 Democrats joined Republicans while 2 Republicans voted against the measure. Maryland Republican Andy Harris charges Democrats inflicted unnecessary financial pain.
Millions of Americans have suffered because they refused to reopen the government.
Democrats say they oppose the latest measure because it doesn't address looming hikes in insurance costs, which will be caused by expiration of subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. The House's top Democrat, Hakeem Jeffries, says they won't stop pressing for the ACA tax credits to help millions of Americans.
House Democrats will continue to fight to address the health care crisis that Republicans have created.
On Capitol Hill, Mitchell Miller, WTOP News.
The end of the shutdown means furloughed federal workers are getting back to work. Our partners at Federal News Network report at least 670,000 workers had been furloughed, and 730,000 more have been working through the shutdown without pay. Yesterday's deal includes back pay for all of them. In addition, layoff notices that went out to more than 4,000 federal workers in the middle of last month will be reversed. FNN reports that includes RIF notices sent to some IRS employees who are in the midst of preparing for the upcoming tax filing season.
Now, even though the shutdown is over, there are still problems at many airports. We're seeing a handful of flight cancellations at our area's airports this morning. There is some good news, though. The FAA says flight reductions at 40 major airports in the U.S. will stay at 6% instead of rising to 10% by the end of this week. The agency says this is possible because more air traffic controllers are showing up for work. WTOP's Neil Augenstein is at Dulles Airport this morning talking with passengers.
Here at Dulles, these friends have been worried about their long-planned getaway to a Mexican resort since the shutdown began.
We were very unsure of what was going to happen.
They hope they'll be there by the end of the day.
Relaxing, excursions, school is stressful, so this is like a well-needed vacation.
And they're thankful for the air traffic controllers who've continued to work during the shutdown.
Really, how about the TSA people? If they weren't there, we wouldn't fly either.
At Dulles Airport, Neil Augenstein, WTOP News.
Even with the change in the status of the government, you'll still see some places in our area closed today. More from WTOP's Kyle Cooper.
For example, none of the Smithsonian museums open until Friday, and then it's only 3. The National Museum of American History, Air and Space, and Udvar Hazy in Virginia. The rest, including the National Zoo, will start reopening Monday on a rolling basis. Museums not federally funded, like the Museum of the Bible and the National Aquarium, have remained open, as have Rock Creek Park and the National Mall. D.C. leaders concerned about tourism and the dollars it brings in even before the shutdown are hoping the end of it gives visiting D.C. a boost. Kyle Cooper, WTOP News.
When Maryland lawmakers return to work on the next state budget, they'll have to close a budget hole of $1.4 billion, much higher than expected. The Baltimore Banner reports new estimates show economic issues and federal tax changes are cutting into state revenues more deeply than anticipated. Costs for Medicaid, child care programs, and other services are also rising. Back in the spring, lawmakers anticipated the next budget cycle would have a comparatively modest gap of a couple $100 million.
Today is World Kindness Day. WTOP's Dan Ronan reports.
Glenn Campbell was singing about kindness during the turbulent 1960s when he wrote Try a Little Kindness. MedStar health psychologist Dr. Heather Hartman Hall says we live in an increasingly negative world dominated by social media. That makes kindness a little more difficult.
In many ways, it actually makes us feel disconnected to each other as human beings, as we've lost more talking to each other. There's kind of a natural instinct to kind of turn inward rather than to feel more open and connected to other people.
Hartman Hall says studies show practicing kindness, whether it's in the form of compassion or gratitude, can actually boost serotonin and dopamine levels in the brain.
It helps build connections. It helps us feel more like human beings interacting with other human beings.
Hartman Hall adds kindness is contagious. People who receive acts of kindness are more likely to be generous themselves. Dan Ronan, WTOP News.